Good morning, everybody. My name is Garth Belic from QBO, and we're going to be looking at the advanced features of QBO this morning. We've got Phil Burney, one of the founders of QBO, online as well, and he's available if you need to ask any questions. You can just simply type them in. We're in presentation mode at the moment, which means that you'll be able to hear me, but at the moment I won't be able to hear you. So if you do have any questions along the way or anything like that, simply just put your question in the little chat window in the Join Me app, and Phil will be there to be able to answer any questions. So we're going to have a look today at some of the more advanced features, and they include our pre-built award packages, and we'll have a look at one of those and how to install it and how to apply that to an employee. We're going to look at employee scheduling, and we're going to have a look at the Clock Me In app, which is our iPad app that we have developed as well. So to kick things off, I'm just looking at the moment in the start screen that you go to within QuickBooks Online and the Employees tab. So I'm going to start just by having a quick look at have a look at the award. And I'm going to go to Payroll Settings and Manage Awards. So I've installed the Retail General Industry Award here already. You can see that at the top. But we have an award catalogue in here that it's about 30 odd in here at the moment. If you actually have a look on Fair Work, there's about 120, 130 awards across Australia. We're slowly getting through and building each one of them. So we're releasing one or two a month, just based on demand and number of industry participants. But we've got sort of the most popular ones covered in here at the moment. We're going to be playing with retail today. But I just want to touch on what we're talking about when we say an award. What is an award package? First of all, in QBO. So if you think of an award, we've got basically a set of pay rates that we're going to pay an employee for each level. We've also got a set of rules or a set of pay conditions that we call a rule set. And a pay condition might be something like, when does an employee get overtime, or when is an employee entitled to an allowance, or those sorts of things. So we call them a pay condition rule set. So we have pay rate templates, a pay condition rule set. We also have something called a leave allowance template. And a leave allowance template just governs basically how an employee should be treated for leave purposes, how much annual leave they should accrue, how much long service leave they should accrue, which some of you might know differs from one state to the next in Australia. So those three things are the main components that make up an award package. And when you install an award package in QBO, you're getting those things out of the box. So we've just got the Retail General Industry Award here. I just want to quickly show you the rule set, an example of the rule set for the Retail Award. So I'm just going to have a look here for permanent employees. And you can see we've got all these different conditions in here. So, for example, if they work on a weekday between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., they get ordinary hours. If they work between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m., they get something called a weekday evening, etc., etc. So it's governing different parts of the week and how it should be treated. So what we can achieve through all this is we can give QBO a set of timesheets that's provided either through the Clock Me In app or timesheeting, or we import a timesheet. And that's going to be put through this award template. It's going to be sliced and diced up into the right pay category. It's going to be applied the correct rate, and the employee is going to be paid the correct compliant rate of pay for that particular award. So it's a really easy, convenient way of managing what is a pretty difficult area of compliance. So we're going to have a look now at how we would set that up for an employee. So I'm going to go to here. I've got Mario Brothers. It's my standard. And we're going to pick on Mario a bit today. We're going to give him a pretty hard week. But what I'm going to show you first of all is just go to the payrun default screen. And this is sort of how we're setting up Mario to tell the system how we want Mario to be paid. So the first thing we're going to do is pick an award. You can have multiple awards installed. In my case, I've just got the retail award. And we're going to pick an employment agreement. Now, these correspond with the employment agreements that we have in the award. So if you looked up the award, you'd see level 1, level 2, level 3, etc. So I might make him a full-time level 3. Now, just by doing that, it's given me a few things out of the box. It's given me a pay rate template. It's paying $11.85 an hour. And one of the things I want to note here is that it's chosen a pay rate template for a 17-year-old. Now, when I set up Mario Brothers, he was 17 when I set him up. When he has a birthday, it'll automatically move his pay rate on to what the pay rate should be for an 18-year-old. So that's traditionally been something that, can cause back pay or something like that if you miss a birthday. And similarly, if you're working with an award that might have an apprenticeship or something like that, we can also work that based on anniversary date. So, 12 months has elapsed since the employee started their apprenticeship, move them on to the second year rate. So it's a really convenient feature that we have if you're using awards. So just by doing that, it's chosen the level 3 17-year-old rate. We've got $11.85 now booked in, and I can also pick from a list of legal hours templates. So as I mentioned before, these are for permanent employees. If I chose casual, it might look a little bit different. They might not accrue annual leave or sick leave or those sorts of things. But they do differ from one state to the next, and I'm actually going to pick the Victorian one here because I've got this base in Victoria. And long service leave, as I mentioned, can change from one state to the next. So all that's handled for you just by picking that leave template. You can also set a primary location. I've got front counter. And we're going to click save. The other thing I'm going to do, which is a fairly important step with any time you use an award, if you use an award, look up the help documentation that we have on that award in our help file. It'll tell you what the different work types and tags actually mean and what they do in the award. But if you go to the detail section and go right down to the bottom, you'll see this tags feature. If you click on that, you'll see a few tags that you can possibly use for this employee. So I'm going to make this employee the first aid officer. In other words, this employee is going to be responsible for first aid. And by doing so, probably going to end up with an allowance in the pay as well. So I'm going to click save there. So that's it. That employee is now set up for being compliant under the Retail Industry Award. So it's a lot, as I mentioned before, it's a lot of complexity that's dealt with fairly succinctly just by choosing an award template. If you have a custom agreement, so if you have something like an EBA or a workplace agreement that you've worked out yourself that might be above the award or something like that, you can also build your own set of pay rate templates and your own rule set as well. We don't have the capacity to cover off on that in this demonstration, but the opportunity is there for you to build your own set of rules fairly easily. You don't need any programming language or anything like that. It's just simple English. And you'll be able to customize your own rules accordingly, which is a pretty powerful feature as well. So once you're happy with that, you save your details just here and then close. And we're back to the main screen. Okay. So now we're going to actually do some scheduling for this employee. So we're going to roster Mario in for a week, and we're going to work Mario pretty hard. He's going to be bashing bricks all week. Okay, so we're going to give him like a 50-hour week, just so we can have a look at sort of the level of complexity that we can sort of achieve by using awards. So we're going to go to manage employees, and this time I'm going to choose rostering. If you haven't seen rostering before, rostering is a simple interface, but what it allows us to do is enter a shift in for an employee, maybe across a week or a fortnight or something like that. We can filter those shifts by a certain location, so I might only want to be dealing with front counter, and it'll give me the employees available to fill in that particular location. It's pretty simple. We basically click on where we want to do a shift, put in the 9 to 5, add a break. If we want to add a break, we can. We can choose a work type at this stage. I'm probably not going to choose a work type in this case. We can also choose a higher classification. Now, what a higher classification is, you might remember we chose a level 3. It might be on occasion that he has to fill in for a managerial role or something like that temporarily. So we could, for example, put that to a level 4, something like that. Okay? So once that's done, we click Save. And one of the really powerful features, I think, of rostering is that you actually get your roster costed out according to how much it's going to cost us. So in the case of Mario here, it's saying now that the Monday shift is going to cost $106.79. And so far, we've got 8 hours allocated to Mario. So if you kept working down that list, you'd eventually see what the shift's going to cost you, and you can actually budget against that. We'll have a look at that in a second. So I'm going to fill in we're going to work in from 4 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. at night. This time we might be working from lunchtime through to 10 p.m. Here I might say 9 a.m., 10 p.m. for an hour shift. So Mario's got a big week ahead of him. So this one, 6 a.m. through to 7 p.m. This one will make it 9 to 5. We might set his classification to level 5. And this Sunday shift, we'll make it 9 to 5. We'll just change the work type in this case. I might say he's working in a freezer from 9 to 5. We'll see what that does as well. So if I hover over the shifts, you'll be able to see a breakdown of what they're going to get: first aid allowance, clothing allowance, etc. Okay, so that's a planned roster. Now, what I might like to do, because this is a resale outlet, I might try to work, let's say, within 30% of wages of sales or something like that. So what I want to do is I want to actually create a budget. So I'm going to click on the Edit Budget screen. And I'm going to say that I want my sales every day is going to be roughly around $1,000. You can fill that down. No, I can change that every day depending on what I want. But I want to achieve 30% wages of sales. So every day I'm going to budget around $300. So save that. Okay. So at the top, we can see that my budget overall for the week is under. But on those particular weeks where, on those particular days where I've gone over the $300, I'm approaching $300, it's actually giving me a warning to say you've exceeded your budget. So it's a way that you can really quickly take a budget and understand how your costs are going to compare to that budget, simply because we're relying on and using on the pre-built modern award that we've got built into QBO. So, I might then maybe look at this shift and cut it back by an hour or two or something like that to sort of cater. So it's a really powerful feature for a small business or something like that that wants to understand the wage cost ahead of time and do something about it. If I want to now be happy with these shifts, I'm actually going to publish these shifts, and I'm going to now let Mario know that these are the shifts that you've got. So I'm going to choose this Publish 7 Shifts button. I can do it in bulk or I can do it one by one. I'm going to click Publish. And you see they've gone green. Now Mario gets an email now, or an SMS, depending on the notification setting, and it's going to tell him the shifts that he's worked. You can set up QBO so that Mario has the opportunity to decline some of those shifts. So you might be able to jump on and say, I don't want these shifts or something like that. You can turn that feature on or off. Mario can also set his own unavailability. So say he went to university or something like that on a Wednesday. He can actually log into scheduling and work that out. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to log into the system. I'm going to close this. We're going to log in as Mario, and we're going to enter some timesheets. Now, a lot of you, if you've used QBO before, probably have already possibly used the timesheet feature. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video for you now. It runs for about 5 minutes, and it's actually going to go through the Clock Me In app. The Clock Me In app's part of our advanced features, and it's going to give us the opportunity to, instead of entering timesheets in after the fact, Mario will be able to clock on and clock off using an iPad that's maybe mounted on a wall at the retail outlet or something like that. Let's have a look at that now. Hello. In this video, we're going to look at the Clock Me In app, how we set it up, and how we use it for our employees. To set up Clock Me In, we need to set up a time and attendance kiosk first within QBO. Go to Business, Payroll Settings, and click on Time and Attendance. Next, you want to add a kiosk. Click the Add Kiosk button. Choose the location that is going to map to. In this case, it's going to be the gift store and a time zone. I'm going to leave this on at Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney. Optionally, we can allow whether the employee can select a high classification when clocking on. A high classification is when they have to work at a classification higher than they normally do in an award. Usually get paid higher. I'm going to leave this on. Click Save when you're ready. Next, we need to provide access to the employees. Go to the Employee Access tab. Select all of your employees or an individual employees and click Grant Access. When we grant access to an employee will receive an email that includes an employee ID and a PIN. Our PIN in this case is 6083. That PIN number is going to be a temporary PIN number, and the first time they use it, the app's going to prompt them to create a brand new PIN when they interact and Clock Me In. Now that we've set up our kiosk from within the app, let's have a look at the Clock Me In app on the iPad. The Clock Me In app runs on iPad only and can be downloaded from the App Store. The person logging in needs to have full access to the system. In other words, they need to be an administrator. But in front of the iPad, at the login screen, enter the email address and the password of somebody with administrator access. The first time you log into the Clock Me In app, it'll ask you to create a PIN. PIN is used by the administrator to turn the app on or off and to log the app on and off, which protects the app from being able to be only installed on devices the administrator wants to be installed upon. Go ahead and create a PIN. In this case, I'm going to choose Test 3 Pharmacy. When the employee is ready to clock on to work for that day, they simply select their name from the left by touching their name. They then enter the PIN that was emailed to them. When the employee enters the PIN, the first time they enter the PIN, it will need to be updated. Once they have a unique PIN, they'll select the location, which will be default Test 3 Pharmacy in this case, the work type, I'm going to say not specified, and a classification if they need to go up a level, at level 2. Click Next, and it prompts them to take a photograph. The photograph proves that it is the employee at hand who was actually clocking on. Similarly, when the employee wants to take a break, they click their name, type in their PIN, and optionally start a break. And take a photo. They can finish a break in the same manner. Finally, they can end their shift using the same way. And that's how the Clock Me In app works. You can see that behind the scenes has created a timesheet from the Clock Me In app. What you might like to do is make these timesheets uneditable to the employee. You can do this by going to Business, Payroll Settings, Employee Portal Settings, and untick Employees can modify their timesheets created by the time and attendance kiosk. Click Save when you're done. You may also be concerned that because employees clock in at certain hours, it may not necessarily be the turn of the hour or the turn of the half hour. You might end up with strange results that we have to adjust. We have a feature in QBO called timesheet rounding. Timesheet rounding lets us round timesheets up, down, or to the nearest. So we went to the nearest 5 minutes. We can customize that to suit our own requirements. This provides a leeway period that, for example, if an employer was required to start at 9 o'clock, might be able to start at 8:58 and it still be rounded up to 9 o'clock. That's the end of the demonstration. I hope you enjoy using the Clock Me In app on the iPad. As always, if you have any questions, you can contact us on support@yourpayroll.com.au. Thanks. Thanks everybody for watching that quick video. So that's just a little bit of background on the Clock Me In app, and by all means, if you're trialing the advanced features for QBO Advanced Payroll, certainly grab an iPad and download Clock Me In app and have a look at how it works. It's really, really good. So I'm going to log in now as Mario. So I'm actually going to create a incognito and I'm going to log into keypay.yourpayroll.com.au. Log in. And I'm logged in as Mario. So if you haven't seen the employee self-service portal before, this is the dashboard view, and we can enter timesheets from here, have a look at the leave balances that have accrued, recent pay slips. They can decide whether work was happy or indifferent or reduce it to tiers or something like that. And we can also have a look at the employee schedule. So there's a schedule button here, and I can jump on and I can see that the weekend of the 28th, I've been assigned all these shifts from my employer. I can from here as well, as I mentioned earlier, set unavailability. So I could say, for example, on the 3rd, not available to work for some reason. And it'll mark that there. So when you're planning out your schedule, that red box will show up and it'll alert us to the fact that we shouldn't put Mario on that particular day. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter some timesheets from Mario. Now, we could have used a Clock Me In app Hi, can anybody hear my voice? Just want to confirm whether you can hear my voice. I just got reports that it's dropped out. Hello? No sound. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to hang up and dial back in. It'll only be 2 seconds. Okay, it's back. No problem. All right, so I've got you on speaker, so I do apologise for that before. So what we've done here is we've imported the scheduled shifts using the scheduled shifts that we've been given. What we can do here is we can modify some of these shifts. So let's say Mario worked till 5:30 p.m. And let's say that he finished at 4:30 p.m. here on the Saturday. So I've made a few variations to that, and I can click Save. So it's a nice shortcut for Mario to be able to enter his timesheets in. So that's job done for us from here. What we're going to do from here is we're going to go back to QuickBooks. Now we're going to wear our approver hat. We're going to have a look at how we can improve these timesheets by comparing them to the schedule. So I'm going to close this screen now. And I'm going to go to timesheets. Close that one down. Back to QuickBooks, and now we're going to go to Manage Employees and Approve Timesheets. So here are all the timesheets that Mario has just entered in for us, showing us work types, classifications, etc. But because we have scheduled shifts, we now have the option to compare with the schedule compared to what actually happened. So when I click that, you'll see that the two shifts that Mario varied now get highlighted for us in blue. Now we can basically highlight that, and we can have a look and see if we need to make changes by clicking the Edit pen. And we get a screen pop up to decide whether we need to change those shifts or not. Or we can go ahead and approve them. So I've checked those, so I'm going to approve all 7 timesheets. And there it is. Pardon me. Okay, now the job's done, we're actually going to create a new pay run. And I'm sure a lot of you people who are existing QBO users have created a pay run before. But we're going to specifically highlight on the fact that this pay run is going to be handling a fair bit of complexity because we've given Mario a fairly hefty week. And it should attract a fair few penalty rates and that sort of thing. We're going to go to new pay run. Because this is the first time we've done it, I just have to define when the pay run ends. So that's going to be the 28th. We're going to pay it on the 29th. We're going to include all 7 timesheets that have been approved. We're going to click Create. Now, what it's doing for us at the moment, you've probably seen this screen before, but what it's doing is it's working out what the rate of pay should be and what the conditions are, and it's also working out things like tax withheld and superannuation and those sorts of things. So it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us, but at this stage it's going through that rule set that we had a look at earlier and the rate to pay, and looking at whether Marius had a birthday and all those things. So it's doing all the hard work for us at the moment. And there we have it. So it's worked out that Mario's gross pay is going to be $1,543.15. And when we drop that down, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a fair bit of complexity. So we've got, Monday, we've got some overtime happening. We've got some time and a half and double time. You can see the rates changing on the right hand column as it's happening. We've got an evening rate being applied. We've got some overtime. We've got some Saturday and Sunday rates. We've also got a cold work disability allowance being paid. We've got some allowances down here as well, first aid and clothing allowance. And we've got some leave that's been automatically accrued. As well as that, it's worked out that we're entitled to 110% superannuation, $110 superannuation, and it's worked out a pay-as-you-go withholding as well. So that's a really complicated, what would be a really complicated week to work out and get right yourself if you're doing it manually through a spreadsheet or something like that, now made really, really simple by the fact that we're using pre-built modern awards. So all I'd have to do is do a reality check on that, be happy with the numbers, click finalise, and publish pay slips. And then that's job done. So what we've seen here is that we can actually use the QBO payroll advanced subscription to automate a lot of industries that are built within the modern award template. We've got a really functional employee scheduling that we can use, and we've got an interactive employee self-service portal that the employee can use as well. So a little bit about pricing on this. The pricing for QBO Advanced is $6 per employee per month, and it starts at the first employee. So there's no 10 free employees if you're using the Advanced subscription. We start metering that from the first employee. So I'm going to open it up to questions now. I can see there's been a lot of questions asked as the presentation's been happening, but certainly use this opportunity to ask any questions that you might have, and Phil and I will answer them on the chat. The webinar will be recorded. We'll be posting on YouTube later today. And our YouTube channel is worth subscribing to if you're a YouTube user. We have how-to videos and walkthrough videos, like the one you saw for Clock Me In, being added all the time. So it's worth jumping on and subscribing to the YouTube channel. But this webinar will be posted on YouTube later today. I'll just answer that question about building construction. It's actually being built at the moment. It's a fairly substantial award, so it's going to take quite a few weeks, but it is on our roadmap to be released, and it'll be probably the next award to be released.